Hi, I'm Zoe, and I'm with Walker, Kayla, and Kara, and we're doing Module 2, Future of Cities Summary. Alright, so for Module 2, the first video begins with the focus on the concentric zone model, which is based on the late 19th century and early 20th century Chicago, but is still applicable in many other current cities today. The center, the central business district, is filled with city halls, monuments, and skyscrapers. The second zone, the zone of transition, is laid out in a grid pattern that are often designed around rivers or rail lines and have lots of factories and mills, which most are condemned by now. Usually this zone has the most affordable places to live. The third zone, the zone of independent workers, houses families who are able to leave the prior zone but still need to be relatively close to their workplaces in the zone of transition. The fourth zone is known as the zone of better residence, which is also known as the suburbs. Middle class and upwardly mobile families live, and this hasn't changed much since then. The last zone, the zone of commuters, contains the most wealthy people in the most desirable areas. At this time, commuting to work via train was considered a luxury, much the opposite of today. Everything beyond is considered the rural urban fringe. With the changing economy, technology, and workplaces and the modernizations of cities, the traditional models aren't always consistent. The urban form has become more fragmented rather than centralized, and edge cities have developed. The diagram above shows the example of these cities known as polycentric metropolitan structures. This basically illustrates that suburban people don't always have direct commutes to downtown workplaces, and many edge cities are created with businesses and homes clustered elsewhere too. To summarize the video, cities are ever changing and incredibly complex, but they are often developed on a history of certain economic and social structures that make them the way that they are. So tough.
Section 2.1 discussed the physical model and phrases used to describe the infrastructure of cities today in America. Today, most U.S. cities are polycentric metropolitan structures, which means they are suburban neighborhoods that aren't just homes for people living on the outskirts of cities. They also provide economic growth in the surrounding regions. In the additional reading, the text states that utopian literature focuses on the societal values and little on the actual city itself. This plays a role in one's quality of life and the standard of living. The overarching goal of utopian society appears to be the pursuit of happiness, which consists in every motion and state of body or mind wherein man hath naturally dilection. In the book Happy City, the author tells the stories of cities and how they were built to accommodate residents for current and future generations. A key takeaway from the reading is the proposition of self propelled mobility, which makes residents happier and cities healthier, and large cities in Europe are doing the same.
I'm Kayla, and I'm going to review the readings provided for Module 2.2, starting with the 2023 Trend Report for Planners. The Trend Report for Planners is a tool used when planning communities and is helpful for prioritizing trends and enabling planners to implement meaningful policies applicable to current and future trends. The report is compiled of a list of over 100 existing, emerging, and potential future trends that the APA Foresight Team and the Trend Scouting Foresight community identified as relevant to planning. The trends are structured within 3 timeframes: act now, prepare, learn, and watch. Here are a few trends relevant in 2023. For the act now category, we have climate policies and housing crisis. And on the local level, the report prioritized infrastructure, digital trust, and transportation. For prepare, they have blockchains, crypto, and NTFs, retail trends, and the future of work. Now, for Learn and Watch, we have geopolitical dynamics as climate change impacts differing severity based on location, outer space, and political shifts in public safety and security. I also thought it was the report was important to mention COVID, as it states that COVID caused changes in the e-commerce and tech sectors, which changed trend priorities. However, these irregularities have seemed to stabilize in 2023, which has helped certain trends become more predictable, like the economy. The chapter The Life in the City of the Future claims the most immediate way of anticipating what the future of cities will be is to imagine living in it, and that the future of cities is subject to anticipation and speculation. There are shared concerns among professionals as to which trends are suppressed and which are encouraged, as it can change the trajectory of the future of cities. And the chapter offers 2 perspectives, one by Toffler and Davey, where they introduced the idea of future shock, which is a change in preference from city to suburb lives of affluent people, as well as changes in mobility and attachment to a particular place. Whereas Hall envisions urban life to stay consistent and trends to stay constant. However, both these perspectives reaffirm that the changes in the future of cities are inevitable and we must adapt accordingly to certain trends.
Hi, I'm Kara, and to continue, I read The Future of Cities by Boyson. So the video begins with an introduction of Sangdu in South Korea. It is a state of the art smart city and it models how many believe future cities should look like. They raise the question, how do we arrive to the city of the future? The problem in development is that we are rapidly developing at a rate that is getting difficult to sustain. There's a continued growth in demand for innovations to assist struggling cities to be prosperous again. However, citizens are not asking for a smart city like some do. They are more so happy to be in a livable city that is not like Detroit. This video also quotes Jane Jacobs and takes the stance that cities are made up of people, not just buildings. It evaluates the previous notion that highways solve problems and depicts the paradigm shift back to walkable cities. To grow walkable cities, we have to culturally change our viewpoints on transportation. We need to stop associating driving with luxury. Innovation as a whole is its own culture. Boyson explores the cultures of innovation throughout various societies. For example, the concept of kanju in Lagos, Nigeria. The culture within these cities determine the development. Architects and developers are forced to emulate the city's existing innovative culture and structural systems. This is how architects and urban planners can be compared to with social scientists. Their creations influence how people interact and the nature of the systems they participate in. The additional reading for this lesson, we chose Everything is Connected to Everything Else, which is a chapter from Happy City by Montgomery. Montgomery opens this chapter with an example of hedonistic sustainability. Hedonistic sustainability is the belief that sustainability and quality of life are directly proportional. In the opening example, Jacques Engel's group used creative design to create a pleasurable, sustainable development. Montgomery believes that Engel's approach to sustainable design could be a potential solution to the conundrum of sustainable development. That conundrum being, if guilt and shame and fear do not lead us to action, how can we hope to solve the urgent ecological challenges of our time? Montgomery is challenging the theology that sustainable development requires hardship and sacrifice. Instead, they call for the exploration of the intersections between daily pleasure and opportunities for sustainable improvement. A great point that Montgomery makes is that the hardships of today are due to the unsustainable planning that happened in the past. Since cities are made of overlapping systems, there will be a chain reaction of quality of life improvement as we work to improve our energy, governance, and social systems.
In conclusion to our module, these closing remarks, we have residents have put less care into their means of transportation, resulting in more movement among communities and families. And if we empower these people and citizens to enjoy where they live, we can then reduce emissions and construct prosperous communities. And also, the way in which these trends are prioritized will ultimately define the future of city life and irregular events like COVID-19 and other environmental issues that change the trajectory of these trends. Thank you.